Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Latino Built's virtual training on getting COBID certified. Today in our presentation, if you would please keep your mic muted throughout the duration of the presentation. If you have questions during the presentation, please ask your questions in the chat. If after our presentation is over, we'll have an open question period time as well. And at that point, if you want to ask a live question, raise your hand and we will call on you to be able to ask your question live. You can also, of course, still ask questions in the chat there. For those, welcome to our members, also guests. If you are new to Latino Built, welcome. We are a trade association, nonprofit, servicing the construction industry for Latinos. There, we pride ourselves on connecting with our community and communicating to you bilingually in Spanish and in English. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you Jesse Juarez, who is the COBID Small Business Certification Specialist. And he is from the Certification Office for Business Inclusion and Diversity. And I'll hand it over to Jesse.
Hi, thank you very much, Leanna. Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to introduce myself again. I'm the Certification Specialist for Business Oregon, COBIT. Also do compliance, and happy to join you today to kind of discuss a little bit of the training and what we do and how we can help you as far as getting certified for state and contracts. So without any further ado, I'll go ahead and start my presentation right now. And if you have any questions, please feel free to hold off until the end, and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so Business Oregon, here's the information here for my contact if you have any questions. And then certification is mainly a business tool. What we'd like to...
We're not seeing your screen yet.
Okay, let me try it again here. There we go.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. So again, here's my contact information at the beginning. Our office, main office, my mobile phone as well if you have any questions after the presentation or any email information. And I'll go next. So basically, certification is a business tool. It's essential for any business that wants to do any contracting with state, federal, city, municipalities, hospitals, anything, any contract, especially in the construction field with ODOT, Department of Transportation, just anything that federal and state tax dollars are going to. How it's going to benefit your business, government contracting opportunities, education, learning about the program and what other entities are out there, agencies wanting to assist, marketing. It's definitely a great marketing tool. I've told businesses that they can definitely, once they get certified, put it on their business card, on their website, or definitely indicate it when they're presenting themselves to other agencies as well as contractors, and most importantly, networking. A lot of the importance of what we do is mainly connecting small businesses with larger ones to develop more of a mentorship program. Now, as far as the opportunities out there, depending on your business model, it may run the gamut from construction to, roofing, framing, carpentry, anything that may be that a contractor will utilize on there. from, you know, top all way top in the industry. Now there's funding with these certifications. There's federal funds that go to the disadvantaged business enterprise and airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise. Those are mainly for services that are provided within the airports. And then the state funding, that's going to be for the minority business, the women business, emerging business, and the service disabled business enterprise. Now, the most common one here with the emerging small business, anybody can apply for. Whether you've been in business for a year or 15 years, there's some limits on there, and this is the one that only has a two-tier system which cannot exceed 12 years. So after 12 years, then you can still choose to be in the program, or it's 2 6-year increments. And this can vary anything from 19 employees or less to 29 employees or less. You must be for-profit business, based in Oregon, meaning your taxes are filed within Oregon, registered with the Secretary of State, and then not have any other business ventures or associations within the same kind of business model, and properly licensed to provide your services. So mainly your CCB, if you're plumbing, contractors, anything that would require you to have insurance must be licensed to provide those services within that industry. And then the next most common ones, minority, women business enterprise, same requirements for profit, Secretary of State. Owners for all certifications must be a U.S. citizen or lawfully admitted permanent resident, at least the majority owner. So if you're 51% owner, must be U.S. citizen resident, and be controlling of the day-to-day operations, be properly licensed again, and have a contribution of capital being monetary, like money. It can be human capital, you've been working in the industry for so long. Educational capital, meaning you have the education background to perform the services in that field. And when we look at these certifications, we look at mainly that the applicant has the management and control in the business, not just ownership. Ownership is a big part of it, but mainly, can you control the day-to-day activities? Are do you have the education, the training, the expertise to perform the services that you're seeking the certification in? And then finally, that you're shovel ready. We want to make sure that when we do certify the business, that when they go out there and they're bidding on these contracts, they are able to perform these when this opportunity is given to them. Now, how do you get certified? I'll show you some steps of how to go on our website, and then allow about 45 minutes, and that's having the documentation with you. Usually, if you don't have the documentation, you can at least complete most of it, and then you can add the documents later. This will be things like your taxes, your proof of contribution, whether you have a registration on there, a proof of purchase for equipment to provide your services, and even any documentation like your licensing or your CCB. So allow much time. And then usually processing on our end, once we've accepted it and we've gotten all the documentation we need, allow about 30 to 90 days. By that time, you'll get it assigned to a certification specialist like myself. We'll introduce ourselves saying, I have your application. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact me. And then also, when you register, you'll be able to get updates on your application and also see what else is out there in our directory. Now, the Cobit, this is the first step. You're going to go to the Cobit Certification Management System. This green section here, you're going to apply, renew certification. So that's where you're going to click on. The next one is going to be, you're going to register and apply for certification online. Now, if you're brand new to this, it's going to be this one right here. The firm is currently not certified. The next step here is going to say, if you're applying, make sure that you're majority ownership for these certifications here. Again, overall management and control, and your overall understanding related to the services that you provide. And so this is just kind of another disclaimer. Make sure you have all this. Make sure you're permanent resident, U.S. citizen, majority owner, and it may take up to 90 days to process. So after that, you go to application, and then this is what you'll see. Now, if you're a registered business and you have your, an ITIN, if you're doing it by your social or your federal employment ID number, that's where you're going to start to input that in the business lookup. And then from there, you'll put your contact information, owner information, business information, and that should be it from there. Anything from that, then we can start to, then you should be able to just select that, what type of certification you want to apply for. And we can help you with that as well. And then as far as finally, what's the catch? It's free certification. It's intended to promote growth within the state. 99% of the businesses here in Oregon are small businesses. And with the disparity studies in, the upper, Portland metro area, they want to increase that growth, especially with the minority businesses in our area. And, we've done a lot of outreach throughout the state to further promote that growth within the region. And then there's other entities and agencies, within that are state and federally funded that will also help if you have any further assistance. But I mean, with Latino Build, they've set a great foundation there to get you started, and then we can also, collaborate and get you set up on that with any further questions that you may have. And with that, I'll just leave it open for any questions that you may have.
Okay, Jesse, we have a couple questions in the chat.
Okay.
I think one is for Latino Built as the association. Is that the case? The certification for participation in this training?
What's that?
I think that's for our organization. There was a question here, can businesses in Vancouver be COBID? Vancouver, Washington.
Yes, Washington has their own state certification. We recommend that you get certified there first. And then because for the emerging small business, that's the home state certification. You can get certified with minority, disadvantaged business, women business in Oregon. But for the emerging small business, that's the only one that won't apply here because your home state would be Washington. So the other ones you can definitely apply. If you haven't applied there already, you can definitely apply with us for the women, minority, or disadvantaged or service disabled in our area.
What would be the cases in which you could not qualify to be COBID certified?
What was that again? Sorry, you cut out.
Sorry about that. In what occasions do you not qualify to be COBID certified if you're going out for a minority business? For example, we're Latinos here, so.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, well, that I guess it'd have to be an example. Is it based on? I mean, it could be management day to day. It could be ownership. I guess I would have to get more elaboration on that question, because again, when we assess a business, if they're applying to be a majority, minority business, uh, is that business owner have the technical knowledge, training, expertise to perform the services? So if they're saying that they provide roofing services and I'm the owner, I have to demonstrate, I have to reflect with my prior experience, my training, um, that I can provide those services, because you're going to be not only, you have to be quote unquote shovel ready, but if these businesses, we're vetting the Cobit certified firms that they can perform these services based on what they've provided us.
Perfect, thank you. We have another question here that says, what kind of immigration status qualifies you to be certified and why?
So the majority owner, the 51% owner applying has to be either a permanent resident or a citizen. So the 51% owner.
And why?
Because that's part of the bylaws. It's a state certification program, and that's on the on the slide that I showed you with the here you go. The slide that I showed here with the certification, it'll say be a U.S. citizen. Sorry, be a U.S. citizen or lawfully admitted resident, and it has the statute right there. It's the certification. It's a federal statute on that, but we also have state statutes that say the applicant has to be, U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Again, 51% owner or applicant.
Great. Let's see here. To a little bit additionally to John's question, adding a little bit more on here. I've heard that the logic is to prevent people from coming from other countries that are very well funded and taking opportunities from local residents. How often does that actually happen?
Well, this has been established since the agency's inception. It's always to keep state monies within the state. That's why the emerging small business, they want emerging small businesses in Oregon. They want those monies to stay within Oregon. Again, with the money, that's where those statutes come in, where if there's any subsidiaries, affiliates, that's where those taxes come in. Those tax documents will say, okay, this business, it's showing that they're registered in another state, country. Sorry, for certification, we want to keep those federal dollars within the country, within the state. It's more promoting growth within. Again, because there's 99% of the businesses in Oregon are small businesses. And that's where it's just keeping that growth within, having that networking, that marketing, those our outreach events to let other Oregonians know that this can be done. We do have resources and other agencies collaborating to put forth growth within the state.
Thank you. And then we have from Lena, how do you prove that you can perform the work? Is it just listing the work on a resume?
Beside the listing the work on the resume, again, it has to be the type of industry. Now, with the construction aspect, okay, so how did you gain the experience in the type of services that you're performing? So if you were telling me that you do framing, how did you go from doing the previous occupation to now doing framing? When we would like contracts as well. We can request previous contracts of services that you performed. We can request recommendation letters. We can also, see what you're to provide us that information. How do we know that you can actually do that work? And again, um, when you're certified and you're performing that work, these contractors are expecting the applicant that's certified to be on that site. So if somebody comes and they're certified, but they don't see the owner applicant there, that kind of that's why we're vetting for you to be that person that's going to be there performing that work. And that's where, complaints can come in. So it's not just on our end. We want to make sure that these opportunities are given and are provided to those businesses that are, are truly involved in their business. And it's not just from our end, it's going to come from the contractor's end, vetting that end as well.
So just to be clear, are there specific items in which you need to prove that you are performing the work? What are they, if they are? Do you have specifics? Like a list of things? They must have
Well,
it on their resume.
yeah, yeah. Beside the resume, the licensing, the CCB licensing, the insurance licensing, and also the previous contracts that you've performed. Again, we could ask for references. And then finally, if there's still, questions on our end of the work performed or the individual or the business, we can also perform site visits. Hey, what can you show us what you've done? And depending on the type of industry, that may not be needed. Like construction is more of labor. Engineering is educational again, and then with like consulting or IT technical, that's hands-on experience as well. And then plumbing, electrical, that's requiring essential licenses as well, where you have to maintain training, consistent training to fulfill those services.
Okay, great. Thank you. We have a request here that can you go back to your first slide that had your contact information so it can be up as we answer some more questions for those who didn't get it at the beginning.
Yes. There you go.
There we go. There's that. If I'm a new business with no tax returns filed yet, can I become certified?
Absolutely. Now it's going to request the last 3 years of your business taxes or your gross income. You can put zeros in that field. A lot of businesses that have started this year or last year, those taxes, they haven't done their taxes yet. So yeah, that's fine. They can definitely do that.
Okay, great. We have another question kind of going on with the citizenship question on there. It seems though with the restrictions currently about citizenship is that we're really keeping out a large portion of businesses that legally reside in own businesses in Oregon. Is there any way that that might be changed for immigration status?
Well,
If that's anything anybody's looking into having a conversation about? I know that it's been out there for a while.
well, again, this has been since the inception of the certification program, since it started, and that's with every state. Every state is the same way. They all have the same guidelines that they have to be U.S. citizen. Again, majority owner, 51%, U.S. citizen, permanent resident. That's always been the forefront of it. There's been, I mean, I guess it's just within the state or federally what's going on with that for these types of programs. But there's other agencies throughout the state that do provide assistance for these, like I put at the end, that do provide assistance or guidance. But as far as the citizenship goes, that's not what we do on there. It's just for our certification.
So, in terms of just the citizenship rule to do with the 51% stakeholder, um, who is responsible for that? Is that federal, or is that or has that rule been implemented through the state, or is it federal?
It's federal. Yeah, it's federal. So the federal guidelines, and then we kind of veer any questions that we may have regarding certification. It always goes up to federal, because if there's any, um, we've wanted to open this more, which is why we have every state has their own certification, and ours, we're probably the only one of the few states that still has emerging small business, minority business, women business, disadvantaged business. Very few states have that now, just because Oregon is trying to, to grow more based on the population size. But anything that goes with Oregon that has to do with our guidelines was from federal, because a lot of that is federal funding, and it's part of our funding is federal as well.
Okay, great. And I think there's Olga Lopez. I believe if you are DBE, WBE, and MBE, you are already COBID certified. Jesse, is that correct?
Yes, and they can, if they're already certified or they're not, you can check that directory. So when I showed you this page here, the COVID management system, you can search the registered directory to see if your business is still there, because when you're certified, you have to send an annual no change or annual certification every 2 years. So no, every year for 2 years. So let's say you get certified this year. Next year, you're gonna just send an annual no change if your business has remained the same, and then you're just gonna send your most updated taxes. Following year, same thing. If anything's changed within your business structure, you update us within the 30 days. And then the third year, it's like you're starting all over again, but we have most of your information anyway. So unless you've changed or added more services to your business, that's where you would include it on there. And so this, when contractors, when they want to look at, a local business to add on as a subcontractor, they're going to look at that registered directory to see who's certified, whether it's minority, women, or disadvantaged, and then they'll contact you. That's mostly what half of this is. They'll reach out through that directory, or they're just, or they'll just send you an email saying, "Have this open. Would you be interested?"
Great, thank you. So just a point of kind of clarification, the COBID certification does not just apply for those businesses looking to just do commercial bids right away. I know from my understanding is that there's a lot of bonds out right now for low-income housing or reduced cost housing that are out there that are funded through a bond, and they are looking for minority business participation of goals of 20% or more, and then so to be able to be qualified and in the running for those, they want to be COBIT certified. Is that correct? Like, Jesse, could you touch a little bit on what types of trades, and whether it's commercial, industrial, residential, what benefits they could get from each of them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the state of Oregon has not put out a disparity study yet. That means that they would like to have that's where the certification is coming in. The disparity study meaning minorities, women, they don't have as much opportunity to get these contracts at, as other types of owners. However, Beaverton, Multnomah County, and City of Portland have now put funds to do a disparity study, and now they are because of the results of that disparity study, and they are seeing that there is a big gap between women, minorities. There's that disparity there, that they can allocate or give incentives for contracting with certified firms. Again, because we vet, they're basing our vetting process that we're vetting that these firms are women business owned, minority business owned, disadvantaged businesses, and they are giving an incentive, percentage points, or uh, kind of moving up the ladder to these other businesses to collaborate with them and have them on as subcontractors. And that's where a lot of the mentorship starts in, a lot of the networking comes in. And I've seen where some firms that do get certified, they don't necessarily start doing business right away with government entities. They start doing it with private. And that's where they start building that relationship while they're getting, more experience, and then these big corporations are able to subcontract with them later on.
Thank you. We have another request. Are there alternatives? So maybe somebody who doesn't qualify, who is a minority but doesn't qualify for maybe their business structure, or maybe they're not a citizen, what have you. What would be alternatives to being COBIT certified?
Well, not all business models will fit our certification process. Some may be too big. Some may not, may not may have leadership, but may not have the management and control. But that doesn't, just because you're not certified doesn't mean that you can't be contracted by a certified firm. A lot of the firms that are certified are bringing in non-certified firms that may not have qualified because based on um, whether it was ownership, management control, experience, education. So there's always that going on. And if it's on a training or education part on our end, you know we can they can always, it's not just if they don't meet it once they're done, they can always withdraw, and then when they have the training they can always apply later on. So it's not just the end all be all. There's firms that have been denied, and then they get their training they need, and they come back and they're able to get certified.
Okay, thank you. Um, here's another question. If your husband and wife owned electrical or HVAC business and the wife takes care of the back office, does this mean that they do not qualify for WMBE certification because the wife does not perform the electrical work? Or
Correct. Because if you're the business requesting that you provide HVAC services, there's certain training that's required for HVAC services. There's certain licensing that has to be completed and training. So if the person that's applying for that doesn't have that training, then they can't get those performance codes per se. They can be certified, but they won't be certified in the services that they want to perform. And I've had that where uh, firms that are they want to do remodeling, and the husband or wife has all the experience and the other individual doesn't, but they do the back office, which is still, the operational part is the big is crucial to the business. uh, they can still be certified, but just not to perform that service. So that may, it's kind of a, if you're wanting to do that additional training to get there, it's only going to help your business to be versatile in both aspects of it. Because yeah, it may be a labor, but also the back office stuff is just as important to the business as a whole.
Great, thank you. And I can't remember on your contact information. Did you have the website for where they apply?
Yeah. Put it here at the beginning. So it was on the where you apply here. There we go. How do you get certified? So the online application is right there, Oregon Cobit. And again, mainly, I mean, it's where you tell us about your business, let us know, okay, how you got into it, and whatever we can do to help on there on our end. Any additional information, you know, we'll interpret it on there and have you put on that platform for certification. And again, if you don't meet it on there, or you're still not there yet, we can bridge that to get you to that
point. We have another one linking onto our last question about the wife doing the back office. And and here's the question. So if the back office is considered just as important, why are we requiring self-performance for certification?
Again, the person that's going to be performing those services is going to be the one that the contractor is going to be looking at. And when it comes to the person offering that contract, they're expecting to count that business owner, because if that person is not there, they can't count them toward that certification or toward that incentive. So let's say in Multnomah County, a person is doing roofing, and the owner's never there, and it's somebody else performing that job. We could get complaints from the city saying, wait a minute, if their certified firm, ABC firm, is there and they're women certified, I only see men there. I've never spoken to the owner. I've never seen the owner. And that's where, that could be a loss of money. It could be a loss of opportunity. And that's why with this additional information or additional documentation as far as training goes, past experience, we want to make sure that when you're shovel ready and you're out there, that there's no questions that will arise, because that does happen. And it may not be us that takes it. It may be the city. It may be the county that pursues it, because that's a loss of dollars that it could have been given to somebody else.
Jesse, I understand that. I have another question. My name is Jenny Rodriguez, and I'm one of the board members at Latino Built, and I also own Twirl Advertising and Design. I am certified, and I'm just asking questions on behalf of the contractors here, because I think there is some confusion. We often talk about that back office and how important it is, and many of the contractors have to hire people to do the back office because they're the ones self-performing. So oftentimes you also have the back office folks doing the estimating. So they know the business inside and out. They're just not actually physically doing it. Are there any concessions when it comes to that in the certification process?
Now for certification, so give me an example.
Let's say, okay, I was the person who originally posed the question with the husband and wife team that their HVAC, let's say HVAC or electrical company. So let's just say that the wife understands the electrical codes, everything to do with electricity, except for she's not an electrician. She's not actually performing the work, but she does the estimating and whatnot. And she's not on the job sites, but she is available. All the phone calls go directly to her, and she is a person that is dispersing the jobs out to her team. Her husband's the electrician.
Right.
And she cannot get a WBE certification, but she's putting in just as much time and making that business survive. Because as we know, very often you can be self-performing, but if you don't know how to work the back office and do your billing and do your estimating, you don't actually have a business then.
So here's a question that it asks when I'm filling out the information. If you're applying for certification and you're in that position, what it'll say is the applicant licensed in the field that they're seeking certification in?
Okay.
So that'll be a yes or no. Does she have the licensing? So is the license in her name to do the electrical work that she's seeking certification in?
Mm-hmm.
If she doesn't, she can't answer she may be able to answer the, troubleshooting if something goes wrong.
Right.
But if something goes wrong out in the field, is she going to be able to leave her office to go, resolve that? Is she going to
Okay.
be able to? So that's how we show it. Okay,
Okay.
let's say something happens out in the field, and your job is crucial to the firm. What are you going to do to take the steps necessary to resolve that issue? Is
Mm-hmm.
it going to be the husband that has a license and is qualified and has done it for the duration,
Mm-hmm.
or are you going to be the one making that decision? That's where it's going to come down to.
And
Because
there's never, I mean, do we ever run into situations that it's a joint decision, that there's a discussion made and then a decision?
it could be financial, but again, with the license, if that's the person that's taken the training,
Mm-hmm.
and we a lot of the license, like Bully, a lot of licenses online, like I have landscaping companies that have the backflow licensing, but it's not the qualified applicant. It's the husband that has it.
So
So
they could, so if they were,
technical.
I'm sorry, I thought you were
Oh,
finished.
go ahead.
So if they were Latino, they could definitely become MBEs. They just wouldn't be able to be a WBE.
Again, so the sort of the services that they're going to be performing, if it requires a licensing and that person doesn't have the licensing, then they can't.
Yeah, but if the business is owned by two people and it's 50-50 and one person is licensed.
Well, they can be ESB. They can be emerging small business.
I would think they would be able to be an MBE as well. But they just wouldn't be a.
Yeah, if they're both minorities, yes. So if
Yes,
they're both
okay.
minorities, they can.
Okay.
But again, the preponderance of evidence is what it's the verbiage that is going to say is
Okay.
where if they're both 50-50 owners, yeah, they can do minority. But when it comes to the minority and the women, depending on they can be they can be equal.
Okay.
Because they're both under the same one. So you can be minority or women. We want to be both. That's where that technical expertise is going to come under and say, okay, can she do this? Does she have the licensing to do this? If not, then if it's dependent on him, then it's going to tilt over to the minority only, not the women.
Okay, so it's really all about that liability. But thank you. You've cleared that
No,
up.
they're equal. Yeah, they're equal. I've had some where they are consultants, and it does fall more on her than him. And under that certification, that's why it's MWBE. It's not minority or women because they both ask the same questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Perfect. Thank you. That's the end of my questions in the chat. Does anybody else have any more questions to ask? Okay, if we have no more questions, I'm going to put David on the spot. David from Gordian, do you have a few projects you want to present on?
I do, and I think this is a very good segue. Thanks so much for the time. Is it okay if I share my screen? I believe.
Let me make you a co-host. Now you can.
Thank you very much. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. So my name is David Relas. I work for Gordian. We're a professional services provider with the city of Portland. What we do is provide procurement services. So basically more efficiency in getting contracts with the city in order to go ahead and do work. Now, what's different with our program, which is called job order contracting, it's an alternative delivery method, and rather than having to bid single projects, and have a new proposal every single time, you bid what we call an umbrella contract, and then you are assigned tasks or job orders based on that. Here, what I'm doing is basically inviting you to a larger presentation. Job order contracting is fairly new in Oregon, so we want to get the word out for our RFP, which is not until August. So we're giving you guys some time to think about it and for you to reach out to me with any questions. So what we're gonna ask for is 4 contracts for general contracting, so that can run the gamut of tenant improvements, doors, windows, all of the above. And this is the cool part. These are contracts for 5 years. So it's really a long-term relationship that you're going to have with the city of Portland here. Then we're going to ask for 2 contracts that just do roofing, specialize in roofing, and then 2 that specialize in HVAC. Now, the minimum contract value is $25,000. The estimated, this is 1 million. Estimated annual value is 1 million for 5 million total. So 5 years times 1 million, 5 million total. So as you can see, there is an opportunity to really do a lot of volume here. Benefits to job contractors, kind of like I mentioned, that it's only 1 proposal. If you're successful, then the city will go ahead and then just start giving you task orders. Now you're going to bid on Gordian researched pricing rather than, again, individual projects. You're going to bid on the pricing that Gordian provides you beforehand in order for you to bid an adjustment factor to that pricing. So say we have a widget, call it anything, for $1, and you think that you can provide that widget to the city and then cover your overhead costs, et cetera, for $1.20. So then your adjustment factor would be 1.2. So it would be 1.2 times that the pricing that we give you to look at, to bid on. Again, I know this all sounds brand new, but basically I would like to invite you to a larger presentation that I'll be doing on the 23rd of July. Please contact me. My contact information is here. I can add you to the list of folks that I'll be sending the invitation to, or you can contact Liana. I'm sure she'll be happy to provide you my information or any emails that I sent her. I'll keep her on my email list, etc. We're anticipating an RFP July 27th. There will be a pre-proposal meeting that I'm doing on the 10th of August, with proposals due on August 21st. I wanted to go ahead and get in front of everyone so that you guys have time to think about this and then attend a couple of my presentations. With COBID, I think it was good timing, as the city evaluating these proposals will be giving additional points to COBID certified firms. We did another job order contracting RFP last year, in which it was all COBID firms that applied, that submitted proposals. So I think there's a really good opportunity, especially for those who don't have any government contracts yet, to start learning about government contracts and get in somewhere where it's a meaningful relationship. It's a long-term relationship rather than just one project, try to get as much money out as you can out of it, and then not get another project for a long time. So this is again newer to Oregon. I think it's a program that a lot of trade associations, just like Latino Built, can really have some value for its members. And then Jesse, so I'm actually Cobit certified, and I thought it was fairly straightforward and easy compared to other cities other states for certification. So just wanted to applaud you on that.
Thank you.
And so with that, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to entertain those. And thank you so much for allowing me some time.
Thank you, David. Could you unshare your screen, please?
Yeah, let's see if I can figure that out.
I did it for you.
Oh, okay, great.
Thank you so much, David. I'm glad that we had a little bit of time for you. I thought it was very relevant that we have you present on those projects that are coming up, and great opportunities for a lot of you here in the conversation today. Jesse, thank you very much for your time and your expertise, and also, make sure you guys have that his information written down if you need additional assistance. Of course, Latino Built is also here for you. We're happy if you want to make an appointment with us. We can sit down with you in our office and go through the process with you together. Socially distanced, of course. We have enough space for it. I'm going to share our last slides here for you. It's loading on my end. There you go. So we have a fun presentation. Hopefully you guys can see me in the little window there. We have some fun Latino Built masks to keep you all safe. I'd love to offer up for the first 10 people who either become a member who aren't a member yet, or renew their membership there and follow our social channels to get your own Latino Built mask to show us there. So once again, our information, give us an email at info@latinobuilt.org, our website for all of our information. We have pages with COVID information, pages with direct access to safety information, of course, all bilingually. And then for those of you who aren't members yet, look at our membership page. We would love to add you to our community. Then our social, we have our LinkedIn page. Sign up for our e-newsletter and subscribe to our YouTube channel there. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a good day. We'll see you later.